what's up, guys? What's up, Baseball and Coffee? Sorry I'm late. Still haven't even made my coffee yet. I might have to take a 2-second break to do that. I was at a very cool event at my kids' school. They did this thing called Wax Museum, where the girls all, they embody some famous person from history, and then they like all stand in an auditorium with like their kind of like threefold science cardboard thing behind them with all the information about their person, and they're in costume, and you come in and you put a little like token in the cup, and then they tell you about their person. So that was fun, and then it took a little while to get home, so that's why I'm a little late. Hope everybody is good. Hope everybody had a great day yesterday. There wasn't as much baseball, so we'll be able to dive in a little deeper to a few things. We're definitely going to watch McLean, some weathers. Owen Caissie had a big game. I want to look at 2 draft prospects as well. So we'll jump into all of that here in just a moment. Let's see if my screen's even up. It is up. Okay, great. And you guys can stare at Jordan Walker for 2 seconds while I'll put the loading. Yeah, I'll just leave this on for a sec while I go make my coffee. I'm going to make 2 shots of espresso and then we'll get going. Actually, what I'll do here is I'll just fire up the standings in the meantime. And you can take a peek at that for 2 seconds. So bear with me, folks. All right, sorry about that. Had to get the espresso machine popping. We got our Mets mug today, Mr. Met. Obviously, we're gonna watch Nolan McLean here very shortly, so that's what we'll get into. Hope everybody's good. Got some good stuff already in the comments. McNeil night at Citi Field. That's right. The return of the squirrel coming in today. BNC got a shout out yesterday before the premiere part of your interview on the A's broadcast. Great. That was fun. We talked on the A's broadcast for a little bit. AO, I was walking around a Little League field yesterday. It brought back so many memories. Oh, man. It's a great game. It is the best game, and nothing like Little League. Nothing quite like Little League. All right, let's go through the standings, then we'll get cracking on our baseball stuff today. Because that's what we're here to do anyway, right? So, all right. Yankees 8-4. They did drop the series to the A's. Orioles are 6-6. Rays, Jays 5-7. Sox 4-8. They all start anew today. AL Central, Cleveland 8-5. Twins 7-6. White Sox and Royals are 5-8. Tigers unexpectedly pulling up the rear at 4-9. They've lost 5 in a row. They have Miami next. In the AL West, Rangers on top 7-5. Everybody else under 500. Angels and Astros 6-7. A's 5-7. Mariners are very disappointing 4-9 as well. Miami Marlins in the NL East, them and the Braves both 8-5. This division's been strong out of the gate. Both 8-5. Mets 7-6. Phillies 6-6. Nats 4-8. In the Central, also been a very strong division so far. Brewers 8-4. Reds 8-5. Pirates and Cards 7-5. Cubbies 6-6. They get the Pirates this week. That'll be fun. First Wrigley experience for Connor Griffin. I love that. Dodgers 9-3, Padres 7-6. They had a walk-off grand slam last night. Diamondbacks 7-6, my Rockies 6-7, and the Giants 5-8. So it's early. Nobody's really pulled away with much in terms of run differential, which is, it's still too early to look at that. The top dogs are Braves, Dodgers, both at plus 34. Yankees are plus 25. Cubs are actually plus 12 at 500, which is interesting. So whatever, take it with a grain of salt. None of that really matters at all. We got some preachers in the chat. What else we got going on? All right. Not a ton last night, but everybody knows that we're going to watch Nolan McLean because that's what we do every time he pitches. Him, Trey Savage, I feel like those two guys are kind of like... Those are like the main guys of baseball and coffee. Now, shout out to the other pitchers that we're not necessarily going to watch, but also threw quite well. E-Rod pitched a great game last night. He matched Nolan the whole way through 6 and ended up coming out on top. McLean obviously got cashed a little bit by the inherited runner situation. But anyway, here's the line of what we're about to watch from McNasty. Lightning McLean, 6 1/3, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Now, both runs crossed home plate after he came out of the game, but nevertheless, those are on his ledger, which kind of sucks. Also, I wanted to point this out real quick. Spectre, we talked about this yesterday in the Discord, coming up with a community name. I thought this was the best one by far. Grounds Crew. Like Coffee Grounds, I think this is the best one. So if we're going to go in the future or we're going to start coming up with a name for the people that are here every day, it's definitely the Grounds Crew, I think, as of now, unless somebody can come up with something better, but I don't think we have that yet. All right, let's go to the player breakdown on Nolan. 48 sinkers. This is a huge departure from before, throwing this many fastballs. It's not usually his game, but sometimes... And I talked about this a little bit on the Sunday Night Baseball broadcast with Jason Benetti last Sunday. To me, premeditating your percentages is good and all. Like, you know what you kind of want to hit, what you want to lead with. But at the same time, the game dictates, right? You're not going to just throw pitches just to equal out a perfect percentage. You're going to throw what the moment dictates. And that's what I think McLean does a really good job of. Also got confirmation yesterday from David Peterson that the Mets aren't calling the pitches from the dugout every pitch, only sometimes. So it's kind of hard to judge exactly what's being, phoned in from the dugout and what's not. So for now, we'll just ignore that when it comes to the Mets. Anyway, all right, Nolan McLean, 48 sinkers, 16 sweepers, 10 four-seamers. So a lot of fastballs in this game, 58 fastballs, wow. 10 curveballs, 9 changeups, and 7 cutters, which, if you recall, in the San Francisco start, he... threw a ton of cutters, mainly because I think he needed to throw strikes, and that was the pitch that he was trying to throw strikes with. All right, only 17% whiff for him, which is very abnormal, but I think a lot of that is the fact that he leaned on the sinker. Still had 33% whiff on both sweeper and curveball, just didn't throw them a ton. First pitch strikes, 65%, 25% chase. All right, let's get into it. McLean versus the Diamondbacks from yesterday. This guy, you're going to see a lot of, you're going to see some filth right here. All right, first batter of the game is Mr. Ketel Marte in the leadoff spot without Corbin Carroll in the lineup. First pitch sinker for a strike. Second pitch sinker. Now, it's just so interesting because as of a few years ago, every single analyst and their cousin would tell you, oh, you cannot throw right-handed sinker to a left-handed hitter. But I'm seeing a lot more of it this year, and I think the bat tracking has a lot to do with that. I think understanding the 2 fastball approach has a lot to do with it. It's just fascinating to watch how strategies evolve so quickly. So falls behind 3-1 here, misses with a sweeper on 1-1, and then misses with this sinker on 2-1. In his previous start, he had a hard time landing the sweeper, which usually is his strike pitch. So we'll keep an eye on that in this one as well. Little check swing for a foul ball there. Sinker here fouled off. And another sinker. So just starting the game with sinker, not necessarily a strategy you're seeing a lot right on left, but works through it and gets a ground out there. All right, here is Ildemaro Vargas, and he's going to do him a favor and hit a first pitch sinker on the ground for a hit. I wonder if this pitch is also coming back into prevalence a little bit because of all of the four-seam spamming at the top of the zone we've seen over the last 5 years or so, maybe even more than 5 years now, and guys are they're flattening out their swings a little bit to be able to cover that, and then all of a sudden this down and away works. You know, I remember when this down and away stopped working, because this used to be my plan, righty sinker versus lefty batter, and I remember through, 13, 14, 15, 16, those years, it was like it just stopped working. Everybody was getting hits on those pitches. So it's interesting to see it kind of come back. And he gets early contact. Or nothing a pitcher likes more, especially a starting pitcher, than a one pitch out. All right, so 2 up, 2 down. And here is Mr. Perdomo, who's off to a slow start in the season, but it's early. He's known mostly for his strike zone judgment, Perdomo. Also, in terms of shape, I mean, his sinker is really good. All right, here's the first curveball of the day.
You can just see it from behind the center field camera.
Just down, and then another sinker. So 3 ground outs on 3 sinkers in the first inning, all to lefties. Wow, Mark Vientos, tackle it and roll it. Catch it, roll, plant your feet, make the flip. I love Pete, but Alonso was a little bit better at going towards the line. The hole was not always his best attribute, so good to see a Mets first baseman making that play. Nice play there. All right, on to the second inning. Another sinker. So interesting that they're leaning so heavy into the sinker versus these lefties early. There's that backdoor sweeper paint. Wow, what a silly pitch this is. Negative 25.6 is simply out of this world. I don't know if there was a wind factor, but I've always wondered what it would look like when McLean is going on a crazy wind day. I noticed it on the stream the other day. We saw some 25-inch runners from Brazabon, but Brooks Raley threw a 30-inch sweeper 2 days ago. So, again, guys who already have huge movement, like a McLean or a Raley, then to see them get the wind, who the hell knows? But this pitch is not only nasty, it's also absolutely painted down and away. Look at this perfection. Bink. Not a pitch you can swing at. All right, 0-2 count. Now he's going to go to that curveball. Not where he wanted it. Ooh, first four-seamer of the day. They're going to try to elevate with that. Leaves it down the middle. That is one of his only vulnerable pitches, to me at least, is when he doesn't locate his four-seam up. I think with a metric of 12.4 vertical break, 13.6 horizontal, it's a good thing he throws 96, but these pitches will get whacked. And to me, this is the reason why you want to stack your lineup against him, is because typically it would force him to throw more of these four-seamers, which is the one pitch I think he's a little vulnerable on, besides cutter. Anyway, this is a much better location here. Still doesn't get above the barrel, but that's where he wants to go. He wants to go up. I'm guessing changeup or breaking ball's coming now. Curveball, here it comes. A little backdoor attempt late. Now the changeup. I knew changeup was on the table here. Now that he threw a few of those four-seamers. So this is clearly a kick change. You can kind of see in the release. Let me go slow motion on this one. You see the finger spiked up as it comes out of the glove. Anyway, runs that off the plate. And we're back to 3-2. I think if there's one quibble you can have with McLean, I think he's already a top 10 pitcher in baseball. But if there's one quibble you can have is, he tends to he does end up with a lot of 3-2 counts. I just feel like the approach against him is a lot more taking than versus guys they think they can hit. And then also sometimes his pitches move so much that they drift out of the zone a little more than others. That's probably it. Other than that, you really can't quibble with him. He's so freaking good.
Dr. Hernandez.
Sinker ball here. Here's a righty. So you're doomed if you're right-handed against him for the most part. But let's watch this matchup today. The rookie getting a shot at McLean.
Chase out of the strike zone.
Sinker down in. I read it was absolutely miserable in Queens in terms of temperature. I mean, it felt pretty cold where I live, which is a little north of Queens. But you also have to remember it's windy at Citi Field, so that wind always adds another dimension. So I mentioned how the righties were doomed, and yet this guy stays in on a sinker. I think mainly he got into a good spot because of the lack of count leverage of McLean here. But hey, pull the hands in, rip it down the line for a double, kid. And there's going to be a man on second with one out here. All right, on to another righty, James McCann. Don't think McCann will have as much success against McLean. This is the exact type of pitcher that's going to dice him up. Sweeper, no. Sweeper again.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Ooh, gets the call, no challenge, and then curveball off of that. And that's just filthy, and that's just, he's nowhere near that. I mean, the total movement on this, I mean, 21.3 plus 16, you're talking 37 inches of total movement on this pitch, which is just silly, of induced movement. Continues to be my favorite pitch maybe in the league, that curveball. All right, 2 outs. And here is Alec Thomas. Both teams have to play in it, so weather is not an excuse for playing poorly. Yeah, we're not making excuses. Nobody's making excuses. Change up ball there. Sweeper coming. Now, one thing early in the season, one trend I have noticed on McLean, a little different from last year when we saw him. Negative 6.5 induced vertical break on his sweeper. His sweeper was flatter last year, probably average 0. It's been in the negatives this year. So there's a little bit of sweeper curveball blending going on here, and I think that's causing him to not throw as many strikes with his sweeper right now. Because look, if this ball holds plane, that's a strike, but it drops out of the zone. So great if he wants to induce a whiff, but I don't think as good for stealing strikes. There's a good pitch. Four-seam dotted away. Change-up off that. I mean, he's consistently getting into the negative IVB territory on his change-up, too. Now, the hitter doesn't even flinch at this, which, I don't know, that's a weird take. But this pitch is nasty. Look at this thing drop. Yep. All right, another full count. Curveball coming.
Here's the payoff. Ground ball.
I mean, it's just not a pitch people are going to be able to square up. It moves too much. It's got too much spin. So roll over there, and he's through 2. On to the third. So this is our third righty in the lineup, Tawa. Sinker in, ball. Sinker in again. This should be a quick out. Rolled it right to Bo. Fires over Vientos, 1 out there. Another long count here. Who's this here? Who's this batter? Jorge Barrosa. Don't know a ton about him. Sinker there.
Barrosa known more for his defense, as we've seen so far this series.
2-0 cutter. So there's the first cutter we've seen. I do find it a little odd that they use it behind in the count, because I don't think he has a great cutter. I think, wow, terrible call there. I don't think that if he does that too much, that will be good for him. I think he should limit it. I think, honestly, I think he should use his cutter more for chase inside off lefties. But I think part of it is that it's probably the pitch he feels the best about controlling for strikes, because it probably has the least total movement of any of his pitches. So up, and then a front door sinker after all that. So this is pretty mean. He just works away, 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 away. Like this fastball's away, previous pitch is away. So this is a strategy here that me and Chad Bettis and actually Wade Davis used to use in Colorado. The way we would refer to it is we would call it a flood and switch. A flood and switch, right? So watch the location of the previous 3 pitches, maybe even in this case, 4 pitches prior to the front door sinker. Cutter, away. Sinker, away. 4-seam away, and this is also important because it doesn't have sinker movement. 3 pitches in a row away, and now what we say is flood and switch. The switch is now you switch the plate. So you've been living over here, away, away, away. Now you're going to come in and you're going to start something off the plate and run it back to the strike zone for strike 3. A lock up almost every time. A lock up almost every time. Here it comes.
Get a little closer.
Yep. There's just no way you can swing at it. Your attention's all away, 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 and then you have a pitch that starts off the plate in. Of course, you're going to freeze. And to add insult to injury, he also challenges it, and he's dead wrong. That ball shaves the corner for strike 3. So really nice pitching there. Even on 2-2, you know, I think he's falling in love a little bit with the front door sinker, which who can blame him? It's a hell of a pitch. But that's a flood and switch. That's what that is. All right, first pitch out on a sweeper here to Cattell.
Soft ground ball.
Ground ball to Mark, and that's another easy inning through 3. What shape do you typically want for sweeper, or how much HB does it take to make it a sweeper and not a slider? So that's debatable in terms of the amount of H break. I would say if you're like over, it depends on speed. You need less break to be classified as a sweeper if it's really fast. Like if you throw at 88, it could be like -8 and be a sweeper, like Luzardo, right? But for the most part, I always felt like it's a sweeper if it's more than 10. But that's just me talking, and I don't really think that it's up to me. All right, so that is it for the 3rd inning. We are on to the 4th inning. And in terms of the shape, for me at least, I like a little more induced vertical break on my sweeper. I don't want it to be as droppy as my curveball if I have both. If I don't and I only have one, then I'm okay with it being a little more droppy because it'll be useful versus both handed hitters. Think Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray's sweeper has a little more drop to it. That one works fine. But I like the dynamic of a Nolan McLean, like I'm just going to show you in the batter's box here. Like I would like his sweeper to be more this way, and then his curveball to be more like that way. That way he can throw 2 pitches that are blurry, and one will come back to the corner, and the other one will drop off for chase. So that's my personal preference, but I mean, arm angle plays into this a lot too. I can comment a lot on McLean because he's not all that different from me in terms of arm angle, but some guys are dealing with a different set of angles and circumstances. All right, so here's a 4-pitch walk kind of out of nowhere to lead off the 4th. All right, here's Perdomo. Crazy sweeper for a ball. So you see already Arizona wants to bunt a little bit. They want to mess with him a little bit. Both guys show bunt there, taken all the way. 1-1, and another sinker trying to get him on the ground here for a double play. And he does. Back to McLean, over to Frankie. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy double play. Pretty horseshit throw by McLean, but whatever, got the job done. 2 outs, nobody on. And now he's going to get Del Castillo. First pitch front door sinker. Changeup coming here. Really good changeup there. Chops it foul. I'm going to guess. Oh, I didn't get a chance to guess. Oh, they're going to do the front door again. And he dots it again. Perfect pitch. So I think he punches like 3 or 4 guys with this pitch. Kids at home, if you throw a 2-seam fastball, learn how to throw it to your glove side. I mean, this is a get-out-of-jail-free card, this pitch. They don't swing at it. Beautiful, beautiful. He's already mastered it. It's freaking awesome to watch. All right, we are on to the 5th. And here is Fernandez, who actually pulled his hands in on that sinker the last time. Starts him with the sweeper here. Oh, there's not Gary Keith and Ron, it's Gelb's Keith and Ron, so you still get the GKR, though.
It is a nice ball.
Playing ahead of Jose Fernandez, 0-2, leading off the 5th. Misses with the fastball.
So speaking to how different.
All right, 1-2 count. Gonna try to get him with the sweeper here.
Almost half. Over half have been.
You see, even when you have a great sweeper like he does, it's just not a big-time chase pitch a lot. But look, whenever I see a take this comfortable from a righty, my immediate thought is backdoor sinker. Let's see if they go to it.
What is working and just leans on it.
They do, and he just misses it. But if he hits that, that's probably a take. All right, 3-2, back to the sinker.
He's got no hit stuff tonight.
This time, it's actually a similar amount inside as the double he hit, but this one's a little higher up, so it kind of breaks him out.
Ground ball back to McLean under his glove. Simeon there to back up. 1 away.
All right, next up, James McCann. Sinker coming.
On that game we were talking
Strike
about
one,
Canada,
beautiful.
it was 2
Now he can do whatever he wants to him. He can go sinker further in here, which is probably what they're going to do. Nope, another called strike. And now any breaking ball that starts in the middle, he's going to have to swing at. Ooh, 3 sinkers. Oh, wait, I messed that up. Yeah, he goes to sweeper 0-2.
a great leader.
Yep, see you later. McCann's got no shot versus McLean. That's why he tried to ambush first pitch. But that's an unfair matchup. Obviously, he's in there to put the fingers down or actually hit the buttons on the pitch comm now, which he did a great job of. But at the plate versus McLean, tough matchup. Sinker, 4-seam, maybe another front door sinker. Yeah, so he's going to go for it again. Another perfect pitch. Frozen. So he's done that to a few guys today, and this pitch is dialed. He could literally do whatever he wants, 0-2, but I think he's having fun making this pitch now. That was a ball, though. Holy cow. Look how close that is, guys. At one point, it looks like the seam kind of overlaps it, huh? That's insane. And then for fun, let's watch his little skip that he does off the mound, which is great. Zesty. All right, on to the 6th inning. And at this point, he was rolling, and there wasn't much they could do about it. I know the 7th inning gets away from him a little bit, but we'll get into that in a minute. First pitch, sinker, strike, sweeper here. Strike 2, you're screwed. Curveball. Off the end, here comes Robert. Oh, it's going to drop in for a hit. And that was a common thread. That was a similar hit that he allowed in the 7th inning, which you'll see here in a minute. This just sucks as a pitcher because you did a lot right, except if you're being honest, you don't want this pitch in the zone. He leaves it just enough in the zone to get wood on it and bloop it in there. So, you know, it's unlucky, but also not a perfect pitch either. All right, next up.
In playing against the bunt, there goes Tawa. The bunt.
Sinker, bunt. So they're desperate. They know they're not going to string hits together off him. Cutter here, ball. Back to the sinker. This is the 9-hole Barossa, so it makes sense. Foul bunt there. Pick off. Pick off. Curveball coming. Ooh, good pitch fouled off. Changeup coming. Consistently below 0 IVB. I mean, this one's negative 5.7. It's just funny for me to see it because there was time where you just almost never saw this stuff. You know, you just almost never saw this stuff. All right, going back to the curveball. 1-2 here. Gets the pop out to Lubob, who also hit a nice, majestic home run in this one. 1 out in the 6th. Back to the top of the order, Ketel Marte. Sinker strike. Man, I can't believe how many sinkers he's thrown to lefties. But, you know, it helps when you're as filthy as he is. Changeup coming. Pulled down and in. I don't like this pitch call, but he's getting away with it. I mean, the swings have been bad, so I'd have to look at some true media stuff to understand maybe some of the bad path on some of these guys. But, man, anything with downward break to Marte right now, he's smashing the top of the ball. Oh, and then this pitch was completely unfair. And this is the 2nd time that he punches a guy out looking and they lose all their challenges because they think they're wrong. But it's got to be hard to judge a pitch coming in with this much break on it. I mean, look at this. Painted. You're out, sir. All right.
Pitch to hit was the pitch prior.
And now we're up back to Ildemaro Vargas. Sinker strike 1. Sweeper coming. Sweeper swing and miss. And up, he's going to go back to the front door sinker again. Dots it. So that's what, the 4th inning that he's ended on a front door sinker to a lefty, perfectly painted. Also, this is a great, we talked about the, just now, the flood and switch. It's sort of a similar effect here, even though it's not. The sweeper comes out. Look where the sweeper pops out of the hand here. I mean, this isn't a good viewpoint of it, but it starts off like away, right? Now, the sinker that he's about to throw is going to start off in. So it's just a total contrast. He sees something pop away from him. He knows he has to swing, but now he sees something pop at him, and he's like, I'm not going to swing. And then that pitch is this front door sinker absolutely dotted. Now, Another thing I want to discuss here is the energy dump of a huge explosion coming off the mound, which is obviously what happens here with McLean. Watch him go little nutso here. I mean, he goes full out, punch out, yell. Typically after that, you don't want to go back out. Typically after that, you've kind of dumped it all out there on the field. You don't want to go back out, but he was only at 85 pitches and he was rolling, so they do send him back out. And here's how the 7th starts. And ultimately, this was the nightmare inning for the Metros. I mentioned Perdomo has not played very well. However, he's very good at strike zone judgment, and he is a good on-base guy. So that play comes into play here.
Wants that sinking away.
Four-seam coming here, ball. Sweeper coming here. Ball. And then he eventually walks him on a 3-2 sinker. Got to give credit to Perdomo for that take. But leadoff walk, no matter how nasty you are, those always come back to haunt you. And then we'll continue on in this inning. Here is Del Castillo, cutter up in. Sinker coming here. Ball. Sinker coming here. Again, I cannot believe how many sinkers he threw in this game. But hey, it worked for him. Nothing wrong with that. Curveball down, see you later. And then here comes his last batter. I mentioned Fernandez. I also mentioned getting a ball off the end for a hit. They both come into play here. Fernandez ends up with 2 hits against him right on right, which is honestly pretty incredible. But also just the nature of getting a ball kind of off the end and blooping it into center, which is I think what this hit is like. It just sucks. That kind of undoes him, and it ends up pushing him out of the game. Both of these were on breaking balls in the same location. Down and away, but not quite off the plate, both with 2 strikes. So, you know, you're not supposed to be perfect out there, but it's amazing how 2 tiny little small little bit misses from his intended target ended up costing McLean here, as that's a little one-handed knock. Credit to Jose Fernandez for riding this pitch out. Big time credit to the batter here. I mean, it's a good pitch at the end of the day, but watch how he kind of rides out this swing and finds a way. You know, I mean, look, it's not the swing that they teach at Driveline. You know, it's not your A swing, but it's effective, and you're not always going to be facing, you know, a pitching machine in a controlled environment. You're going to be facing Nolan freaking McLean in a big spot, and you're going to have to put wood on ball. But he knocked it out of there and got the hit. So before I get to the Weaver stuff, that was McLean's outing. He threw great. The leadoff walk in the 7th came back to bite him. I think that we have to keep an eye out on the sweeper shape a little bit. Can he get that back to being a little more flat? Because that's taking away a little bit from his strike throwing pitch. Like, that's what it is. That's his strike pitch. So he needs that. Let's see if he continues to spam sinkers versus lefties. And also, let's just see if he's now completely in love with the front door sinker, which I would be if I were him. It doesn't seem to surprise me. All right, let me get in here a minute in the chat. That's what I thought. He threw that last sinker 97. I figured he was done after what clearly looked like an adrenaline dump. Yeah, and look, I've been there on the mound. I mean, I know that you guys probably don't know it, but I used to be a starting pitcher, and there was this one time I remember very vividly in high A. I was pitching in Dunedin against the Blue Jays high A team, and I was having a great start. I think I struck out the guy who was like going to be the MVP of the league to finish the 7th inning. And I think I was only at like 80 pitches, but I remember I struck him in and I let out a huge roar, just assuming that that was it for me. And then I ended up going back out there and I immediately gave up like walk, hit, homer, and like just blew the whole game. And yeah, it's one outing. It doesn't mean a lot. There's not a lot of data off one outing. But I will say that adrenaline dump stuff, when you roar off the mound, that's a real thing. And I'm not saying I would have taken him out if I were Mendy. I probably would have left him in. 85 pitches, he's your best option. There's nobody coming out of that bullpen that's a better pitcher than McLean. You know, maybe Devin Williams on a 1-inning basis, maybe. But I would have left him in. I don't think it was a bad managerial decision at all. It just didn't work out, and that's going to happen sometimes. All right, what else we got here? How does McLean get so much spin on the curveball? I wish I knew. I mean, it's literally an insane pitch. So, you know, I don't really understand it. You know, it's that nasty. It's that nasty. And no, I don't think I would have taken him out. McLean sinker sweeper combo is so reminiscent of yours, Otto. It's sick. It is. His is just nastier. More velo, better movement. I mean, what can I say? The kid's a freak, and I'm so glad that we get to watch him. I would have, despite the low pitch count. He's young, it's cold. He had just thrown his hardest pitch. I thought he was done. Okay, but there's no guarantee you're not going to lose the game anyway. And I can see why this is a debated point. It looks like McLean went to catch this last ball here, but he just doesn't catch it. I mean, it's awfully close. He gets awfully close to catching this. He didn't let that go. He's trying to make that play. But look how close that is. Holy cow, that's close. So his next start will be against the Dodgers. That will be a game to circle. You know it. You freaking know it. It'll be great. Maybe through the tennis ball containers in practice to get like Lugo did to get this pin. I don't know how he does it. I'd love to talk to him about it. And maybe I will one day if I'm ever let back in the Mets clubhouse. But it didn't work out. All right, Luke Weaver comes in. To this point, he had pitched quite well. Obviously didn't go well last night. But I do want to say, look, Gabriel Moreno, hell of a swing here. Hell of a swing here to flip the game on its head. It's going to be a changeup. So he falls behind 2-0. That's the first mistake. But then he goes changeup. This one's dirty. Swing and miss. The second one is also really good pitch, but a one-pitch adjustment by Gabriel Moreno to go with it. I mean, that's what impresses me here. Now, I don't think that this is a bad play by Beatty either in right field. I saw that being debated a little bit. Yeah, maybe a great right fielder can make that play. But to me, it's just like you got to give credit a little bit to the batter. I mean, the contrast in swings, I know the pitch is a little better located here. Because this is the one that's the swing and miss. You can see it's a little better located. It's below the zone, just a touch. But also, look at Moreno. I mean, he's completely trying to pull an outside pitch. And then I think he immediately decides, I can't do that anymore. And he goes ahead and goes with it. Since you got that app that's only available to players, that give you a catch percentage? And if so, can we look up that hit? Yeah, I can look it up on Baseball Savant right now. So, I mean, to me, it was just a great swing. And then after that, you know, the air's kind of let out of the ballpark. This is one of those moments, of course, I've been involved in. And, you know, if you're Luke Weaver in this spot and you're diagnosing your outing afterwards, you're thinking the biggest mistake is I didn't get ahead in the count, but you're not going to blame yourself for this hit. This is a great swing. The Snakes deserve that win, and I will give them credit where credit is due. I know he also gave up a triple later and some stuff, but that's baseball. You know, it's baseball. 1-0 game. It's a small margin, and you can't always like worry about that. All right, so who hit that? That was Moreno. Yeah, so the double off Weaver was a 450 expected batting average, home run, and 4 of 30 parks. I don't have catch probability on it, but 450 expected batting average means, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So, again, I think I'm more likely to give credit to Gabriel Moreno than I am to crush Luke Weaver there. I mean, the only mistake is falling behind the count. And that's why when you come in the fireman role, like, it's crazy, but that first pitch you throw is super important. And that didn't work. That didn't work very well. All right, let me get back in the chat, and then we'll get on to something else. No, it didn't give me catch percentage. It just gave me the expected batting average. I guess I was a little confused about that. But my app doesn't give it to me either. It sounds like what you're saying is more of a matter of experience and maturity for the pitcher to recognize the situation, whether you are for sure done or not, and to control your emotions. Yeah, I think you have to like kind of go through it a little bit, make some mistakes, and then kind of learn from it. I did see Buck Showalter talking on a podcast yesterday where he talked about how Scherzer, even, you know, the ultimate competitor, the guy that you would think would always want to stay in the game, would tell him, hey, you know, I'm getting tired here. I need 1 or 2 more batters. Maybe that just comes from experience, you know? Could just be from experience. With every team having traject, Nolan's ability to choose a different plus pitch to spam every start is a cheat code. I mean, he's just a cheat code in general. He's so good, you know? He's so good. So that's the bottom line. Still trying to get to the bottom of this, but I mean, I think we all kind of know why. Weaver's been pretty good. You're not going to win every game. Hand it to the Snakes. Totally agree. All right, let's get into our second game that I wanted to take a peek at from yesterday, which was a great pitcher's duel between the A's and the Yankees. I'll give Springs some love as well. Victoria, I know he deserves some love. He was the winner of the pitcher's duel. 7 innings, 1 hit, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts for Jeffrey Springs. I was more interested in Ryan Weathers, of course, being a Yankee watcher. 8 innings, 7 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 7 strikeouts. Coming off of Weathers' first 2 starts, the biggest thing for him was he needed to be in the strike zone early and often in this game, try to force some earlier contact. Looks like he was able to do that, and it equated an 8-inning performance, which was huge. On the other side, though, yeah, Springs, 7 innings, 1 hit versus the Yankees. I know it was a cold day, but you got to give credit where credit is due. He pitched a hell of a ball game, 35% whiff. 68% first pitch strikes, living ahead of these guys all day long, and he did it with minus velocity. So, so let me answer one more question here in the chat, and then I'll get into this game. We'll watch both of these pitchers, I think. Should have enough time. Why do you think Steve Cohen is constantly hiring ex-Yankees coaches and ex-Yankees players? Do you think he's insecure about the Mets' talent or something? I always find it odd that he always does this. I think this is more of a coincidence than anything else, and it goes the other way too. Plenty of Mets people end up with the Yankees. The reality is that these are 2 huge clubs. These are 2 of the biggest 5 clubs in the big leagues, and once you become a great player, or even a good player, usually all roads lead to the big clubs. So it's just coincidence that there's a lot of overlap between Yankees and Mets. I also think a lot of people like playing in New York once they get used to it, so they're more open to going across town when they're a free agent again. And then there's also a little bit of the truth to a guy can either handle New York or can't handle New York. And so if you see a guy that you feel like can, then, that keeps him on your board as opposed to running away from that player just because he played. And I agree. I think a lot of people are reading into it. I think a lot of it is just coincidental, and these are good players. They're just good players. In terms of endorsement money, not many people get that in baseball. You're talking 10 guys that make good money off of endorsements in baseball. And Shohei crushes all of them by like 100x. But, Judge, guys like that, they do well. Bader, because he's got like a certain vibe. But like not a lot of people do great off the field. All right, let's get into this game. I'll give Jeffrey Springs the love first. We'll speed watch Springs first. Yankees, A's. This was a great pitcher's duel. In the cold, Jeffrey Springs, the former Red Sox, the former Ray, shoving it against the Yankees in this game. All right, first time up, gets a roll over on a changeup from Rosario. Second batter also went out on a changeup. Wow, so very similar swings on each of the first 2 outs. Anytime you can get Judge to not take his A swing, that's the goal. And when he's reaching for something, that's the goal. So great pitch there by Springs. And then a 1-pitch out on a fastball here to Belly. And Springs has himself a beautiful first inning. Didn't think the Yankees' approach was great in this game when I watched some of it yesterday. A lot of guys just being a little bit too antsy, I thought. But, you can't be perfect every game. There's a fly out from Stanton on the fastball up in. This is a great location. I mean, talk about a perfect location to a guy with a long swing. I mean, this is where you want to be. So, and you'll see in this game after we watch Weathers too, this is a good contrast. Both left-handed, but they both go about it totally different ways, and it shows you that you can do it. You can do it different ways in baseball, and that's one of the beautiful things. All right, high fly ball from Ben Rice. And now here's a strikeout of Grichuk on a changeup. Dirty. So it's a 4-seam, it's a changeup, it's a cross body, it's good command. That's the game plan. Here's Wells going down on a heater up in. Another beautiful location. Springs also getting good vert on that fastball. 20.6 IVB on that fastball means that ball is playing really, really well. Despite it's only 91.5, it makes it a really quality pitch. All right, here's Caballero on the changeup. Kurtz looks almost as big as Judge, the big Amish. He is very big. He is very big, yeah. I know y'all might not get to see it, but the Blue Jays get a surprising amount of endorsements in Canada. That is true. I know Stroman did well. I know Kevin Pillar did well. A lot of guys. But again, you have one team for the whole country there. So it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. A lot of good reasons to play for the Jays, for sure. There's a fly out on a slider. That's our first out on a non-fastball or a changeup. Here's the only walk, I believe, of his outing here to Rosario. So this is going to lead us to our biggest at-bat of the game, which is Judge. 2 on, 2 out. So we'll watch every pitch of this Judge at-bat. All right, first pitch, fastball, up in. That's the spot. Ooh, very indecisive swing by Judge. That's a really strong first pitch attempt to Judge. I've talked about how in a big spot versus a great hitter, you don't always want to just fill up the strike zone like you want to do normally, but you want to throw a borderline pitch, and that's what Springs does here, and he gets exactly the reaction he wants, which is a bad swing, strike one. Now he can look to expand a little bit. Four seam again. He can go a little bit higher here. Ooh, that was the pitch to hit, but again, this fastball is playing crazy at 20 inches of vert. Man, such a dangerous pitch here off that previous one, but he does get it by him, so... I mean, it is on the corner. 0-2. Does he go to the changeup or the high heater? Back to the high heater. Get it up there. Ooh, dangerous pitch again, but gets underneath the barrel up. And you see Judgy's reaction here? See what he's saying right here? He's saying, I'm getting too under it. You see that? Sometimes the hitter will give you feedback. They don't even know they're giving you feedback, but they can't help it. All right, 0-2 pitch. Here comes the cambio. This is his equalizer. Oh, and he dots it on the corner. No challenge from Judge. Good non-challenge as that was shaving the corner. And Springs doing it, baby, doing it. All right, on to the next inning, the fourth. Bellinger this time doesn't want to get a one pitch out, takes all the way, gets a slider dropped in on him, and he's going to get out on a fastball. Man, Springs pitched great in this game.
Served into left field.
Little slap to the left, one out there. Here's Stanton, going to get him with the changeup. Love the Athletics. I will die on the hill that their bullpen isn't as bad as people think. Yeah, that's probably true. They don't have a lot of brand names out there, but you're right about that. And here's a pop-up on a slider to Rice. You know, you see the Yankees putting in a lot of borderline pitches into play. That's what I was talking about. Just a lot of anxious at-bats. All right, 3-2 slider here to Grichuk to lead off the fifth. That's a good pitch to hit, but he swings through it. Here's a first pitch out from Wellesley.
And getting hitters out on a regular basis. Grounded to first, Kurtz.
Roll over there, and he'll close out the fifth with a slider to Caballero. So definitely looping in more sliders. Second half of this game. Gave that one a decent ride, but not enough, and we're on to the sixth. Here's going to be McMahon, who's off to a really tough go. Really tough start here. And he gets painted here for the strikeout. Good challenge by the catcher here. He strikes out to lead off the sixth, and here is Ahmed Rosario. So we're back to the top of the order. Four-seamer up in, gets it there again, pops it up again. It's a really good combination, the fastball and the changeup, but you add in the perfect command in this game, and this is how you're going to get a games like this. Slider to Judgy, gets him to the reach. So really good job with Judge today. Got him the reach on the two balls he put into play, and then completely dominated him in that other big at-bat with the fastballs before dropping the changeup on him. All right, seventh inning. Bellinger gets him to swing at a pitch above the zone. So the Yankees have been, in the early going, they lead the league in walks, and actually the A's lead the league in doling out walks. So I thought this was a series that was tailor-made for the Yankees just to expose the A's lack of command out there. It did not play out that way. A's controlled the zone much better on the mound this series, and they end up winning the series, I think, honestly, because of it. Slider here to Rice. Ground ball, base hit, so he does get himself into a little bit of trouble here in the seventh. 2 on, 1 out. And he's going to punch out Grichuk. Grichuk had a tough day, striking out all 3 times. And that's his job, is to hit the lefties, and he had a tough go. Perfect changeup there. And then he's going to finish his outing, Getting Wells out here with a fastball. Probably the best pitch I've seen anybody get to hit in a while, but comes off of it, slices it out to left. So Jeffrey Springs, phenomenal start. Phenomenal start. He did it with 40% fastball, 31% slider, which I guess I didn't see as much of those, although those were all of the lefties. 20% changeup, which to me was the equalizer. He threw a couple sweepers, couple cutters. I mentioned how he stayed ahead in the count all day. 68% strikes, that's the formula. 68% first pitch strikes, that's the formula for sure. And then that changeup got 45% whiff. So hell of a job by him. On the other side of things was Ryan Weathers, and I mentioned his big issue off of his first 2 Yankees starts was he just didn't live in the strike zone enough, nibbled a little too much, threw too many pitches, didn't get deep in the game, and then he got victimized by some batted ball luck. He was able to go 8 innings in this game yesterday. 30 sinkers, which was a new pitch coming into this year, so it's great to see him using that. 27 sweepers, 25 cambios, 18 four-seamers. Velo was down a little bit. Maybe that was part of the plan to get him more in the strike zone, not be so max effort. Anyway, it worked. So let's speed through Weathers' game as well in this one. All right, Jacob Wilson. Gonna get him out with a changeup first at bat, ground ball. So you see the power of the changeup. Both pitchers utilizing that. Fastballs and changeups. It's a simple game, but boy does it work. All right, little jam single there for Kurtz. The big Amish. Here's a called strikeout of Butler. That's just down the middle. Not sure what he was looking for there. Come on, Law. Change up here to Ibanez. Ooh, and that's why McMahon's on the squad. I know his hitting will come around, but the fielding never slumps. Nice little layout here. That's the end of the first. On to the second. Max Muncy. Change up. There's McMahon again. One out there. Here's a called strike 3. This is going to become a dynamic pitch. You don't see a lot of lefties that utilize the backdoor / front hip two-seamer. But if you can just throw any type of sinker and anywhere over here, whether it's a righty or a lefty with 2 strikes, you're going to get a lot of freezes, and that's what Weathers does here. That ball's dotted. Nice pitch.
John Sterling.
All right, here is Austin Wins. 10-10 wins. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. Austin Wins with a deep fly out to Grichuk. 107.7 at 28. You don't see many of those stay in the ballpark, but one underrated thing about Yankee Stadium is that left center field gap. That shit is deep, and that pays off big here, plus it being cold conditions. So, on a ball that should be a home run almost every day of the week, he gets the fly out. All right, 3rd inning. Hernaiz ground out to Caballero. Rice with the tag. And then another 1 pitch out here from Mr. Clark, Denzel. Little weak fly out to Judge. Back to the top of the order. And Wilson's going to get a hit here on a changeup. Oof. It's a good piece of hitting. Little drops it in there. And we're back to Kurtz, who he's going to get with a sinker, strike 3. Let's watch this whole at bat. Weathers versus Kurtz. First pitch, sinker, strike. Second pitch, sweeper. Great take. Third pitch, sweeper. Take, and then he's going to get him looking, and then he's going to get him swinging on that sinker away. Especially with the velo he has, look for him to utilize more glove side sinker as this season progresses. I see that as being a good pitch for Ryan. All right, 5th inning, 1 pitch out to Butler. Butler doesn't want to strike out again. Actually, it's a hit. Really good swing. Left on left sinker. Granted, this isn't his top velo, but this is a pitch that has been chewing up lefties across the league as more lefties have adopted it. This is just a nice swing. Stays through this ball really well. But yeah, the ambush approach makes sense here. He struck out his first at-bat, looking to put the ball in play second at-bat. All right, another first pitch here. Fly out by Ibanez. Weathers windup reminds me of Hader. Yeah, maybe a little bit, although he doesn't have as much turn as Hader. Change up. Ooh, dirty change up.
There's that change.
Punches him out. That had 20 inches to the left movement as well. Yeah, Kurt's off to a slow start. He'll be fine. And then Doors, Soderstrom up top of the fastball. I noticed last year watching a lot of Soderstrom at bats that he has a hard time not swinging in that spot, up and in. So look for him to adjust to that over time, but that's where lefties are going to go with him, and then he's very chasey in there. From experience, do dudes turn up their noses at receiving advice from players they think are worse than them? Yeah, probably. Typically, it's gonna sink in a little more if somebody gives you advice from somebody you admire. But you never know where you're gonna learn something from. So maybe they're worse than them in a way, but that doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. You might learn something anyway. All right, 1 out on the first pitch, and then a changeup reach over here for a hit. So he's given up a few of those on changeups, which kind of stinks. Couple bloopers.
1 and 2 on Denzel Clark.
Another changeup here. Another crappy hit.
McMahon goes across the diamond.
Actually, it's not a hit. Good play, but it does move him up to second. And here's back to the top of the order again. Jacob Wilson. Ooh, great swing, but right at belly. So gets through 5, scoreless. On to the 6th. Leadoff hit here for Kurt. So Kurtz gets 2 hits off of him.
Line drive, it's a base hit.
Man, hammers that 4-seam. He's special. 112 at 8 degrees. Doesn't make it to second somehow. But my guy, young Jim Thome.
1-0 on Nick Kurtz to start the 6th.
Wham!
Line drive, it's a
He's so good. I love his swing. His numbers will be there at the end of the year. Bang! So he gets a single on that.
2 against the Yanks.
Did you get advice from an unexpected person, coach? Yeah, of course, over time. It's hard for me to think of a person right now, as that's a strike. Tough challenge there by law. But yes, for sure, I've gotten advice from unexpected people. Sometimes you get advice, and it's not even from a person who plays your sport. It could be a mental cue from something else. So, you'll have epiphany moments left and right in the pursuit of excellence. Oh, okay, we have to break this one down here. Now, I talked about this during the WBC a few times. Maybe we'll start with the center field cam. The phantom double play. Kurtz running on the pitch. Check out Ahmed Rosario. Pretending to tag him. You see him right here? Let me get rid of this thing here so you can see him. Rosario pretending like he has the ball. This is Rosario. That's a horrible arrow, but that's meant to be an arrow. All right, you get the point. Anyway, Rosario, watch him. He comes in, he pretends to tag Kurtz. Kurtz doesn't know where the ball is. Sure enough, it's a fly ball to right. So this is a fantastic executed phantom double play, or a deke. And now Kurtz has to get back. Judge has plenty of time to catch it, return it to first for the double play. So great defense there by Caballero. Got to give him credit there. Stole them a free out. And that ended the 6th. Phenomenal job.
Driven out into right center field. On the run is Bellinger.
All right, here we are in the 7th, and this is where the run scores, I believe. A leadoff triple from Muncy. This is just a great swing. 107.8 at 26. Another ball that most days is going to be a homer. But this is 2-0. Pitch away. And look at him hammer this. What I'm referring to is my guy, Sam Antonacci from Team Italia, who did it twice. And they're on my high IQ videos from the WBC if you want to check them out. He did it with a dive tactic, which I've never seen before, and he fooled 2 middle infielders, which is even more insane. But this was another good job by Caballero. Anyway, let's watch this swing one more time. Watch how Muncy goes with this pitch. That's what you got to do here. If you try to pull this, you're not doing shit. Instead, Belly kind of misjudges it, takes a nice firm kick off the fence, and it's a triple. Leadoff triple, hard to get him to stop scoring. And he scores right here. Soderstrom, line drive to right, drives in the only run of this ball game. And that was the deciding factor. Weathers did hang in there, and he pitched another 6 outs, though. Change up. Here comes McMahon. Nice play there. Change up again. Yeah, there's no way that shows up in OAA or DRS. But you see, I mean, that got them a free out. That should count towards your ledger if you're Caballero. He generated that out on his own. Obviously, Judge had to make the catch and throw too. But Oh my God, you're
We
scaring
have a
me.
shower.
Shower's working?
I've never been so excited to shower.
Okay, good.
We have a shower.
Sweeper popped up. I don't know if you followed on the stream, but I broke our shower like
really broke the
a
shower.
month and a half ago, and now it's fixed. So my wife's excited. Pop up there.
It's like sky is brighter, birds are fancier.
8th inning, going for 8 innings, which is awesome. I've been noticing a lot more pitchers seem to be going deeper in the games, which I love to see. First pitch out, the second pitch out there on a changeup. Here's a strikeout on a sweeper to Kurtz. So him and Kurtz had a good battle today. Got him out twice, but also gave up 2 hits to Kurtz. So fantastic matchup today. Gets him the chase on 3-2 here. That's not something he does a lot of. Let's see if he swung at that. Yeah, that's a swing. That's a swing, my Amish friend. All right, and then he's going to get Lawrence Butler out here with the left-on-left changeup.
Ground ball, second base.
Ground ball to Rosario. So 8 innings from Weathers. You know, you can't fault him. He pitched his ass off in this game, and that's a good sign of things to come. I think for the Yankees and for him, he threw a lot more strikes in this game. 72% strikes. Wasn't afraid of contact in this game. Allowed him to go deep. There was a couple bloops, a couple hard hits, but overall, I thought he threw great. You know, great sign for the Yankees. They are definitely looking great with their rotation. And we'll see how Luis Gil looks today. I think he's pitching against the Rays today. So let me get back in the chat as we are now done looking at those 3 pitchers. Weathers was definitely impressive. Springs, got to give credit to Springs, though. Springs outdid him, throwing about 6 miles an hour slower on average. How does one break a shower? One day I went to the shower and I went to turn on the hot water and the whole thing came out of the wall. I guess it was messed up on the inside. There was a cartridge and the water came firing out. And I just completely panicked and I did some dumb shit, tried to screw it back in, and then now we have wall damage and all that's going to have to get fixed in the next couple months. But they fixed the cartridge and now the shower works again, and our shower is a lot bigger than the kids' showers where I've been showering. So everybody would be happy that that's back. Yankees just have to hope Weathers stay healthy. And I mean, yeah, that's a big deal, but they're doing that mainly because they think he's past his bad health stretch of his career, and now they're gonna hopefully ride him through a healthy period. We'll see how that goes. But yes, they do need him to stay healthy. No Corbin talk yet. I don't know, why would we be talking about Corbin? Did he come back or do anything yet? And Gil is starting against the Rays, who actually looked great in his last spring start that I did the call for on Yes. So interested to see what that's all about. All right, who else do I have on the docket today? Mick Abel, I was thinking about watching, but we should watch Owen Caissie, who's been banging for the Marlins. Owen Caissie. I don't know how you say his name. Can somebody tell me? Because I don't want to get his name wrong. The big red-headed ginger Canadian guy kind of rakes. He went 3 for 4 yesterday with 3 RBIs. He's now betting 324 with 1,000 OPS on the season. Big part of the Marlins. What they've been doing in the early going. Let's go look up his StatCast numbers here. I don't know what's going on. We need Owen. Not a lot of Owens floating around either in the big show, but here he is. So here's what the numbers look like in the early going for our big guy. 6'4", 190, 23 years old. He's the 92nd percentile ex-WOBA. Everything is coming up great. He does whiff a little too much and strike out a little too much. This is not very different than most of our other big-time, big-time power guys, especially young power guys. This is something we've been watching a lot. Hold on, they're texting me about what I'm talking about on MLB Network today at 12:15. So it's good to get the topics ahead of time. The Canadian crippler, Owen Caissie. So yeah, I mean, look, if you just make enough contact and you're hitting the ball as hard as this guy's hitting the ball, good things are going to happen. In the early going, what's he hammering? Change-ups. It's kind of weird to see, but also fastballs. So, all right, let's watch this game from last night. Who did they play? Who did the Marlins play? They played the Reds. Cincinnati Reds, Miami Marlins. Boom, boom, boom. We'll watch all 4 at-bats, even though he strikes out the first at-bat in 3 pitches versus Rhett Lauder, who I like a lot. Big upright stance. Taking strike 1 there and strike 2. So sinker, 4-seam, and changeup. It's funny because he's been hammering changeups, but that's a really good changeup. So Lauder crushes him the first at-bat, second at-bat. Let's see it. Couple guys on in this spot. Changeup, ball. Now he's going to come with the fastball, and Owen is ready. Oh, kaboom. Left center. Oh. Not a good play out there, but I think that's Friedel. But 102.6 at 32. Both runs scored. Hell of a slide here by Otto Lopez. Yowzers. Nice. Nice slide. All right, next at-bat, still versus Lauder. So remember, he hits a 4-seam middle in the first at-bat. Missed a changeup, so sinker away, changeup coming here. I like changeup. The bat path to me looks very flat. Well, I'll do a little more investigating on Caissie right after this. Caissie? I don't fucking know. Slider coming. Ooh, Big Red is the nickname, so he's Big Red. Come on, Big Red. Slider backdoor 3-1. Sinker coming. Takes a strike, and it's going to be a changeup. So we mentioned he's been hitting changeups. Let's see the location of this one. Ooh, drops the head on a changeup down in. Spanks it out to right for what should be a double, but I think he's going to get a single, huh? Oh, no. Good hustle out of the box. 112.6 off the bat. Never hesitates and gets himself a double. Attaboy. So, you know, his big tool is exit velocity. It's power. So, again, it's all about mitigating your swing and miss, making good swing decisions, not chasing too much. So far, he's done a good job of that, and that's why you're seeing the results. All right, last at-bat, he's going to get another hit here and more RBIs. 4-seam down. Here comes a changeup. They haven't gotten the memo. He hits these things. Laser up the middle. I think this is a good trade. They're going to have 6 years of him, and they would have had a lot less of Cabrera. So for what the Marlins need, which is they always seem to have pitching, but for what the Marlins typically need, a little bit of young, sustainable offense. I like the move for this trade, getting him from the Cubs. What's his chase been like? So this is the key metric right here. Look at the chase, 23.4% chase. That's 82nd percentile. To me, that tells the whole story. He's not swinging at balls. You're going to miss sometimes in zone because you swing hard, you swing big, and people can figure out a way around your barrel at times. But this metric is very, like this spread, like with no chase, even though he has too much whiff in the zone, very similar to Judge, very similar to Schwarber, right? Those are two of the best guys that have a lot of whiff in their game, but it's okay. It's okay, you know? It's okay. All right, let's dig in on him a little bit more. Now that we have our, now that I have my True Media rocking and rolling. All right, so a couple things we need to add here. We need to add in here pitcher hand. And we also need to add in here another one. We need pitch type. All right, those are my 2 favorites. So we're going to start versus righties, and here's what he looks like on all hard stuff. So if you're facing Caissie with the hard stuff, you got to watch out for middle. But down and away looks good. I think a lot of that's from his very upright stance. Hard time reaching over there, maybe. So I think down and away still plays. Here is Owen versus, let's see here. Versus breaking balls. Swing is definitely still built to clobber the bottom of the zone, but also it looks like he's a little bit dangerous when you try to go backdoor and you leak it down the middle. And then let's look at him on changeups, because those are the pitches he's been hammering. Yeah, I mean, look, he's pretty good on changeups, so we don't really need to watch him versus lefties. But in the early going, it looks like to me hard away, hard down and away with that really tall setup he has. But, Yeah, I think away. I think away. Down and away with the fastball. Maybe beat him a little bit above the zone, but I wouldn't mess around with anything down in or anything that he can kind of just drop his hands to because he's got a very strong swing. Let's see what he's looking like in terms of his bat path. I gotta update that. Yeah, that was True Media right there. Now we're just gonna go look at his bat path. All right, Owen Caissie. So 36% path tilt, 12% attack angle. So that's designed for him to hit the ball in the air. So that all makes a lot of sense. It's not incredibly scoopy, but there's some scoop there. 6-degree stand open. All good there. No red flags there. Obviously plenty of bat speed. I wonder what his swing length is. So I know I'm taking a second here to digest this, but I think it's worth it. And then after this, I think we should watch 2 draft prospects next. Oh, no, not there. I want him down here. Swing length, 7.2. So nothing crazy, honestly. About an average swing length, maybe a touch under. And you combine that with high bat speed, that's going to allow him to hit velocity in the zone. I just think his stance limits him a little bit from diving and reaching everything. But overall, great trade for the Marlins, I think, in the early going. They have played very well. They are sitting in a tie for first place in the early going. You need to do that with a combination of pitching and hitting. Can't just do it one way. So very good to see. Ooh, Mason Miller. Let's just watch him now. We'll skip to Mason Miller right now. I know he pitched last night. He's riding a crazy hot streak. Did he pitch last night? Yeah, he did, right? San Diego and Colorado. Yeah, 1 inning, 3 strikeouts. So the journey continues with Mason. For me, everything changed right away as soon as he made his slider his primary pitch. As soon as he did that, ooh, Dollander is interesting too. I might want to watch some of that. Shit, how much time do we have? We'll see. Anyway, to Mason Miller real quick. Once he flipped the usage, once he went to slider as the primary, not only did his results improve across the board, but really his first pitch strikes improved. So once you give a guy like discount leverage who's sitting out, I mean, he averaged 102.2 last night. It's kind of unfair. I mean, it's not a little unfair, it's a lot unfair. All right, so let's watch his outing last night as he does what he always seems to do now, which is strike out all 3 guys he faces. Mason Miller, 10 pitches, 3 strikeouts. Here we go. Rumfield has actually been great to start off the season for the Rock Show. First pitch, slider, swing and miss. Okay, so if you're a batter and you're facing Mason Miller, you should probably be aggressive, right? Because you know you're going to strike out. The strikeout rate's absolutely through the roof. So that's what Rumfield's thinking here. And instead, he gets an 87-mile-an-hour demon slider that he swings through with a sword. Now he says, all right, now I have to be a little more patient. And then Miller drops in a backdoor slider that you can't do anything about. And, you know, if 2 wars are not enough, here's a 3rd one, and you're nowhere near that. This pitch is just devastating. It's amazing what pitching backwards will do for any pitcher, but especially somebody with crazy velo. Yeesh. See you later. Next batter. Oh, he was on his way to an immaculate in this one. Slider there. It all started the last time he gave up a run when Lourdes Gurriel took him deep on a 104 right after the trade deadline. Totally. You learn your lesson, you know? Eventually guys are going to be able to time my heater. But when they have to see a slider first, there's no shot. So slider to Tovar and then 102.4 up top. Yeah, goodbye. And then 103.4. I mean, that's just so fucking fast. You know what I would have done with 103? Oh my God. Tovar, you're just absolutely beat. You're just beat. And Miller's pitching with some anger right now. I mean, see you later. He's coming into the sick corn workout song. And swing now. All right, 3rd batter. Throws one ball to him here. Oh, terrible hack at that first pitch by Castro. Here comes the heater off of that. Ah, there's the 1 ball he throws. Another heater here. Doors. Stick with it. Throw it again. Ah, you wimp. Another slider. dirty. See you later.
He goes
Goodbye.
around, and he
So,
struck him
3
out.
up, 3 down, 3 strikeouts. He's a joke. His numbers have been insane for a while now. I mean, and what can you say about Mason Miller? He's the best pitcher pitch by pitch in the big leagues right now. You want to get 3 outs? He's the guy. He's the guy. Why does Miller case so many more than Yohan Duran? I would say Duran pitches a little bit more to contact. His style with the sinker and the splinker that he throws. Those pitches, even though they're just as fast, they lend themselves to more contact. Also, his breaking ball is a curveball, not the slider. It's a little bit different speed-wise. I just think Mason Miller's fastball and slider tunnel so well, and they're both swing and miss metrics. So I think Duran, a little bit different when you're comparing them as well. So that is that. Should we quickly watch Dollander? He threw 81 pitches. My God, they used an opener and then they went to Dollander. We'll circle back around to Dollander if we get time, but I have 2 prospects I really want to watch. Standing by for the Gaucho. Yeah, Flora. So I've been wanting to get a little bit more into my prospect video watching. So today I wrote down 2 guys that have really risen up the rankings. Vahn Lackey and Jackson Flora are the 2 guys that I want to take a peek at, because the Athletic, Keith Law, who I'm not a big fan of, but he put 10 prospects up as his 2026 draft ranking 2.0. And after we watched Rock Chalowski yesterday, I looked at the next 2 names, and they're Vahn Lackey, catcher, and Jackson Flora, right-handed pitcher. So we'll just go in order. I know people are waiting on Flora a little bit, but let me go back to multi-game. Let's see if we can find Mr. Vahn Lackey. Here he is. A ramblin' wreck from Georgia Tech. Lackey is going to be a monster catcher. 2026 Georgia Tech, apply. So he's passed his teammate Drew Burris on the prospect rankings. Ball and play result. We'll watch his extra base hits just like we did with Mr. Chalowski yesterday. All right, so here's Vahn Lackey. Let's watch his extra base hits from this season. Look at that beautiful backdrop at Georgia Tech. Ooh, almost a play there. Has no idea where the ball is. And it's a triple for Vahn Lackey.
It's a 2-2 to Lackey. And that's a line drive.
This one down the left field line.
Trouble. Schmidt to pick it out from the corner. They're going to hold Burris.
Georgia Tech way out in California at Cal here. The Golden Bears. So 2 doubles to get our watching starting. All right, here he is versus Auburn. Oh, deep drive to left. Watch out, building back there. Homer. Have not seen Brody Bumila yet. So Dollander at first was just like sort of like a long reliever. They were kind of piggybacking him. But that seems to have shifted a little bit. Vahn Lackey, this is not an idea. This is not a name that I heard prior to the year, but he has come on really strong with a dominant platform year for the draft here. I want to watch him catch a little bit too. If we can watch him throw at all, we'll see. Here he is in pit, spanking a ball down the line. Yeah, that Georgia Tech field is nice, left on base too often. I actually got to pitch there my junior year when they were #1 in the nation. My first start of the year was against them. And Matt Wieters was the star player at the time. Ooh, a little oppo power. We've seen him going extremely down the lines a few times, Mr. Vahn Lackey today.
You cannot take that big of a secondary.
And he hammers one
Ooh, deep drive to left. Left fielder with a brutal route, but that's gone anyway. He's got a funny gait when he runs.
2-1, laced to the gap in left center, and diving is Gaffney.
Ball dropped in there a little bit.
Lackey's going to roll into second base.
Lackey's arm is insane.
Vincula, he's at first base with 2 outs, the 2-1 pitch. Boy, this is hit.
Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Deep left center.
That ball's off the scoreboard.
And goodbye, gone. Home run.
Vahn Lackey's raking this year. Holy cow. Miller throws a little changeup sometimes too. Do you think he should insist on taking... For me, I think he should be a starter. I mean, I know he's the best reliever in the game right now. But for me, yes, he's got the tools to be a starter. He can throw enough strikes. He's got a good changeup. I don't think he needs to pitch at 102 to be awesome. And listen, if you can be a starter, you should be. Take it from a longtime reliever. If you can be a starter, you should be. Hey, that's the second triple we've seen out of this boy. Wow, 456 coming into this game. Laser beam to left there. I love that we get to get a little look at these guys. I know I watch only the good, but I like that we get to get a little look of what they look like when they're going good.
To try and make this as efficient as possible.
You can't hang anything in the zone to this kid. Hitting nukes. Did you like playing for the Yankees? It would be my dream. Yes, and it was my dream as well. So it was really cool to be able to fulfill that, and it lived up to it and more. Love playing for the Yanks. And really every team I played for. Except for maybe the Cardinals, but they have a different regime now, so no hate there.
Gibson, the second baseman, holding on the runner Hernandez.
A lot of extra base hits. It just feels like this clip's never going to end. The kid's mashing. It's down the line. I always felt like Georgia Tech would be one of the fun schools to play at in D1 baseball. Good academics. You know, in Atlanta, which is one of the hotbeds of the game. Wow, Oppo home run right over Veritek's number. Nice shot there. So he's showing power to all fields. Hitting fastballs, hitting breaking balls. Definitely seems to really like breaking balls in the zone, from what I've been seeing. But they're saying that Vahn Lackey could maybe catch Chalowski as the #1 pick, which would be interesting. I mean, you never know. For me, catcher's the most important position in the game. So, you know, if I'm going to start my franchise and I have a guy who's going to be my catcher, if I could find my Yachty, I know that's easier said than done. Find my Buster, find my Yachty, that's the guy I would want to find personally. For me. A lot of people look at it probably differently, but that's the way I've always thought about it. Ooh, dead center. Gone. So we've seen him homer to right, homer to left, homer to center. Hitting balls all over the dang place. Oh, Stony Brook. Wham. Another ball to center. Over the batter's eye. Get out of town. Don't know college well. Can anyone tell me a top 3 schools to watch out for? Well, UCLA is #1 right now, I believe, in the nation. I'll check the rankings for you right after that. You know, the big-time schools, mostly the SEC. There's some really good ones out west that have been winners over the years. Man, this guy's having an all-time season at this point with all these home runs I'm seeing.
Trying to keep me humble, I guess.
Pressing those right buttons.
Yes, yes.
Laser.
Laced in the left center field. Hernandez rounds second.
How was it playing for Team Italy? So fun. We had a blast. Obviously, we won a lot of games. I got to pitch to one time, so it was so fun. All right, that's it for Vahn Lackey swinging it. Let's see if we can find him. Catcher. Vahn Lackey, apply. Let's see if I can find him making some throws. I want to see this arm that everybody's been talking about. Following in the tradition of Jason Veritek and Matt Wieters at Georgia Tech. Those are the two big dogs. Come on, load, load, load. Do your loading. This might take a little bit just because he's a catcher. So these things take a minute. Let me reset everything. Catcher, Vahn Lackey, apply, Georgia Tech. Oh, here we go. Just thinking for a second here. Nomar, Jay Payton was a good one. Charlie Blackman. All right, what do we need here? We need games, innings, runners on base, outs, count, ball and play result. I don't want a ball and play result. I want a non-ball and play result. No. Base runner movement. Caught stealing. There's only 2 of them here, but let's see. Let's see if we can get Vahn Lackey chucking some rocks here. Here we go.
Runner takes off.
Oh, baby hose. You can see it. The kid's got a cannon, which is even more important. Wow, this batter is already weird. But you can see in the modern game how important catcher throwing is. If you're not at least league average, you're going to be in trouble. So now we watch Vahn Lackey pump 2 guys out. Let me see what else we got. If there's anything else that I can find. Base runner movement. Let's runner out. Let's see if this is a clip to watch or not. Probably not, but who knows.
Bursima.
Oh no, this is nothing. He just happens to be involved in the play. Oh, there's a play at the plate. So we'll be involved in this rundown, I guess.
And I think he thought Bursima was going to
Crazy. First baseman ran forever. Ah, that was stupid. That was dumb to watch. All right. That's it for him. That was cool, though. We got to see him. Pretty good swinger, obviously. Who are we looking for? Flora, Jackson Flora. He's the guy that we want to watch next. He's our number 3 draft prospect out of UCSB, Santa Barbara, the Gauchos. Shane Bieber. Non-ball and play results, strikeouts. Want to just watch him punch tickets for a little bit? Let's watch him punch tickets. So these are all his strikeouts from this season. This is the #1 rated pitcher right now. Wow, tall drink of water.
Lead the club with 30 RBIs.
He swings and misses here.
Pretty high release. So good downhill plane on that. All right, I'm going to go make another cup of coffee while this plays for a little bit. Ooh, backdoor sweeper. Nice pitch there.
Caissie swings foul tips. That is swung on and foul tip.
The position players.
2 balls and 2 strikes. That's strike 3. Flora. Got him. That's strike 3. Thomas. And the 1-2. Ball game. That's strike 3. Hit, and it was
I haven't really gotten a good look at the fastball yet.
2 strikes. Got him. That's strike 3.
You know, that's my first thought too, William Schickelgrube. High release, so a little bit of a downhill tilt to everything. He's not as high as Trey, but you see it's a north-south late breaking slider. He's been up to 100, I believe. Ooh, that's a nice breaking ball. So you can see why he jumped up the charts so hard already this season. There's a strikeout. Low fastball freezes will be there for sure. Guys will think it's low. Looks like he also has a sweeper, which is an interesting combo from up top. So that maybe makes me think a little bit of like Legrand. Ooh, there's a changeup. I'm seeing a pretty big mix right now. What we drinking? Espresso in my Mets mug.
2-2 drills the outside. Mention, I mean, from a mentality standpoint, it's all there. Payoff is in there. Strike. Any step in any direction. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Squeezed by Vargas. Flora with a ball and 2 strikes. Bullseye. Strike. 11.3.
All right. Back to watching.
2-2.
Crushing righties with breaking balls.
Yeah, I'll let the scouts and all that.
Now, the delivery is a little interesting for me, and I'd like to see, learn a little bit more. But he's been a ticket factory. Fast, up to 100. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna check the scouting reports on these two guys in a minute when we're done with this segment. The Gauchos have something going with pitchers. Tyler Bremner went second overall to the Angels. That's true. Bremner, obviously Bieber. They've had a lot of good pitchers over the years, and really just like California is so chock full of baseball players. I got married in Santa Barbara. It's such a beautiful place. I would have loved to play at a place like UCSB. That would have been a great adventure. Obviously, it wasn't in the cards, so I was freezing my tail off at Northeastern, but I think that's pretty cool. Bring the bag to Vector at 12:30. What bag?
Midweek in the middle against LMU.
Backdoor sweeper. Also, the college strike zone's massive. Massive.
Much adversity this year.
He could legitimately put 50 pounds on that frame. Yeah, and you know, modern days they might not do it. In the old days, they definitely would have done it. So we'll see if that would matter or not. But it looks like he's very whippy to me. Ayo, a lot of hockey players say their most enjoyable years were juniors, which is usually between high school and college or pro. What about me? I'd say the most fun I had in baseball was probably my Cape Cod League summer, 2005. So that would have been after my sophomore year of college. Probably the most fun I ever played baseball was that summer. But, you know, not to say it wasn't in the big leagues too. Like 2019 Yankees was a blast. 2022, 2024, 2021, 2018. A lot of really fun times in baseball. But it's just like, you know, in pro ball. Wow, that's a dirty changeup he has too. But like in pro ball, you just have so many games that there's not as much extracurricular time. Whereas there was a lot of that, like when I was in summer ball or previous. So, but nothing like playing with your buddies, you know, nothing like playing with your boys. Ooh, that's a vicious sweeper. Let's watch that one again. Look at the break on this thing.
Strikeouts for Flora this afternoon. 2-2 dives in there.
So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna cut it here. You get the idea. The kid punches tickets. Let's go look at some scouting reports. Now, are they in here anymore? Because I don't think this has been updated yet. But here's Jackson Flora, who we just watched. All right. 70 grade fastball, 55 grade slider, 50 grade changeup, 55 control, overall 55. Oh, don't forget, Dylan Tate was the number 4 overall pick out of Santa Barbara as well. So they've had plenty big-time draft picks. Flora's combination of size and arm strength should intrigue most teams. 6'5" right-hander already offers premium velo with a fastball averages around 97 and can touch triple digits. Good shape carry and arm side ride. 2 different breaking balls. There's a slower sweeper, which we've seen, and then that harder downward plane one, which is nasty. I like that he has both. He also is throwing a kick change, which is, you could see that on the video. That was pretty nasty. That was something to see. See if we can find some stats on this guy from this year. No, hold on. UCSB baseball stats. The Gauchos. Pitching. All right, Flora on the season, and this is why he's moved up the ranks so much. He's made 8 starts this year. He's 6-0 with a .69 ERA. In 52 innings, he's only allowed 26 hits and 4 earned runs. 15 walks, 65 strikeouts. He's allowed 1 homer. They're hitting 144 against him. So obviously he's dominated. He's got good stuff. He can touch 100 miles an hour. The walks have now come back under control. So yeah, somebody's going to get a big time strike thrower. And if they really like that north-south style, that's what they're going to get out of him. Now, As for our guy Vahn Lackey, here's the scouting report on Vahn coming into this year, he moved up really high. A late bloomer in Georgia as a high schooler, Lackey didn't receive any D1 offers until his senior year in 23. So he hit 347 as a sophomore and was a starter on the U.S. team last year, which is, usually a pretty good thing to do. Right-handed swing can get a little busy. Doesn't prevent him from making consistent contact to all fields. He should give at least 20 home runs in the big leagues. Very athletic for a catcher, 6'2", 215, plus running and strong and accurate arm. He also played a little bit of third base in his career. So here's the grades. 55 hitting, 45 power. To me, it looks like 50 power. 50 runs, 60 arm, 55 field. Let's see what he's doing statistically this year. Georgia Tech baseball. Whatever. I know I messed that up. All right. Baseball, Yellow Jackets. We're looking at stats. All right. Vahn Lackey, through 33 games started this year, he's batting .404. 404 with a 793 slug. So you can imagine the OPS is outrageous. His on base is 520. He's got a 520 on base percentage this year in 121 at bats, 11 home runs, 10 doubles, 2 triples. My goodness. 26 walks, only 20 strikeouts. I mean, statistically, there's nothing not to like. He's also got 16 assists. Any caught stealing information here? No, but impressive. Impressive to watch both of these guys. It's going to be cool to watch their journeys. As they're moving up the draft, who's going to get these guys? Who's going to get Flora? Who's going to get Vahn Lackey? Who's going to get Rock Chalowski? How's it all going to shake out? We will continue to check in on draft prospects as time goes on. All right, back to the chat. What's the college strike zone? 1 ball off plate? I mean, it felt like 5 balls off plate when I played. I don't know what it's like now, but I used to just spam away all day long when I was in college, and it was unfair. You couldn't reach those pitches. Do you remember what you and Rex Brothers said to each other when you learned the Rockies signed LaTroy Hawkins? I remember thinking, damn, now Rex can't continue closing and make more money in arbitration because they went and brought in an old man LaTroy to the team. But at the time, I was excited because I was like, veteran. I can learn from this veteran. Ayo, do you have a favorite camera angle among the MLB stadiums? I feel like the Rays, for example, allow you to see lefty breakers so much better with the pitcher's rubber lined up at the plate. I can't remember what's my favorite, but there's some good ones out there. Ayo, do you think MLB official scores have increased issuing hits nowadays? Yes, no doubt about this. I mean, they'll never admit it, but they need the offensive stat line / line to look a little bit better. So you'll never get a ruled hit overruled into an error anymore. And yeah, I do think they want more hits. They want more hits in the game. What would you look for as a scout for first and a pitcher, since every team basically rebuilds a guy from the ground up when they draft him? This is such a tough question, and honestly, I don't know if I have my full thought out answer on this. I think I'd be looking for a guy who already possesses a feel for multiple pitches, because I think that's a prerequisite now if you want to be a starter, unless your stuff is insane and there's no telling how long you can keep your stuff insane. So I love, for example, I'd be looking for pitchers like Connolly early, who were low 90s but had great feel for pitching, pitched in a tough conference, still have youth on their side. And then you can go ahead and add some physical traits onto them, like velocity, and really level those guys up. So, Schlittler's another, example of that. Obviously, if they have it all, that's great, but I'm looking for quality of movement. I'm looking for aptitude. I'm looking for toughness. Honestly, a lot of almost intangible qualities. Obviously, you have to have enough stuff, but I like a lot of the intangible qualities as well, because that's what's really going to play out long-term if you want to be in the big leagues. Is you got to have a good mentality, you got to have a good ability to adjust, and you have to have aptitude to, take what you're being taught and what you're learning, what the game's teaching you, and apply it. So that's my answer on that. UCSB is at UCLA next week. Sick. Flora Chalowski matchup. That's great. We need more of that. Love Seth Hernandez. I mean, he's got electric shit. Really good, moves really well. He's a guy that I've been into for sure. Yeah, I would have liked him. He was my favorite pitcher in the draft last year, personally. Okay, so we have a little bit more time. That gives me enough time to look at 2 more pitchers. Yay! Let's look at Chase Dollander, who pitched in this game yesterday for the Rock Show. And then if we have time, I'll go look at Mick Abel. So Dollander, they're kind of you know, grooming him in a weird way this year. They're using him in long relief. They're not giving him his own start days, but he is getting multiple innings and throwing his pitch count every time. Curious to see if he leans more into the sinker. From looking at this game, not as much. He only threw 14 of them, all to righties. But to me, it's got a nice sinker shape. I know that the stuff grades aren't as good. But anyway, here's what he did yesterday, so let's watch it. 33 four-seamers, 17 changeups, 15 sliders, 15 sinkers, and 2 curves. He averaged 99.4 on his fastball. I mean, there's no denying the kid's arm talent. 41% whiff on that fastball, so okay. 30% whiff overall, 68% first pitch strike, 31% chase. All right, let's see it. Manny Machado, Chase Dollander. So he's going to punch out Manny with basically 100 down the middle first at bat. You'll notice with Dollander right away, one of the things I like about him is he plays that low arm slot upshoot game. You see the arm angle, pretty low, pretty sideways, and then this ball is going to explode in an uphill pattern. So I like that. I think that's going to help him even at course too, to create a better angle up in the zone. And we'll continue to watch how that plays or doesn't play. We'll see. All right, strikeout there. Here's an out here on a 100-mile-an-hour heater to Xander. Pretty good pitch to hit, but just beats him enough to fly it out to Doyle. 2 outs there, and here's a hit for Mr. Sheets. Slider down in, pulled hard. He'll get on second there. Next batter, going to get him out with a slider, Castellanos. Castellanos, man, I made the mistake of throwing him fastballs a few times in my career. Just don't stop throwing him breaking balls, you know? All right, second inning he pitches. He gets Ty France. That's that sinker I was talking about. I like his sinker a lot. It's got plenty of run. This one's got 17. He should be able to pound that in on the righties all day long. All right, here's a hit. Change up. Ooh, a little slow roller over to Willie Castro for a hit, so an infield hit.
And you know, just the important role that women play in the lives of our families.
Backdoor slider. Oh, here we go. Four-seam fastball. Cronenworth. Definitely throwing a lot of balls down the middle, which in the big leagues, as hard as he throws, it still won't really matter. Guys are going to put balls in play that are down the middle. But his stuff has looked fantastic. All right, in-play runs, change up. Bad location there to Tatis. Kind of gets lucky. It stays in the ballpark. Flies it out to left. Scores the run. Now he's going to get Merrill up in target. Gets it there. As long as he hits his targets, his fastball will play at the top. It's a sitting duck down the middle, though, regardless of how hard he throws. Yeah, it was a meatball. You don't have to tell Philly fans about getting Castellanos out. Yeah. I'm just saying, man. I'm just recalling back to the things that are that I remember. Gets Manny to pop up on a changeup here. He's got a good changeup too. All right, slider here to Xander. Xander ended up hitting a walk-off granny in this game, which I'm going to be talking about on MLB Network here in 25 minutes. You know, the double intentional walk mindset. All right, 0-2 fastball here to Sheets. See, when he plays it up in the zone, it plays. It'll play. Man, that's the second pop-up almost to the screen. Here's a strikeout on a heater to Castellanos. Doors. Must have slowed him down with a few fastballs. I mean, with a few off-speed pitches, because usually Nick's always on the heater. Boom. See ya. Eagerly waiting the next Rockies Cy Young candidate like a Game of Thrones book. Yeah, you'll probably keep waiting because it's pretty hard to ever win the Cy Young in Colorado. Obviously, it's never happened. I think Freeland finished 4th in 18. Change up there. In play outs here on a sinker. Yep, love the sinker for his contact. I would like to see him lean even more into the sinker and four-seam shape. Spam those back and forth. Don't let anybody get too comfortable with one shape. That's what I'd be thinking. Still pumping 100 here on pitch number 69 for him. As he walks Cronenworth. Here's a strikeout of Tatis. Let's watch this whole at-bat. First pitch, sinker. Ball. Second pitch, four-seam. Swing and miss. Third pitch, four-seam. So Tatis put a changeup in play that first at-bat. This time Dollander's like, you know what? I'm sticking hard. 100-mile-an-hour again. So beats him with 3 fastballs. He's got a great fastball. He really does. All right, next inning. Jackson Merrill. Four-seam up. Gets above the scoop. Good pitch. Manny's going to get a hit here on the sinker. Let's see if this just leaks middle. Leaks middle. Oh, should have been out. Man, even with Manny jogging to first, he's on base. Here's a hit to Xander. Another single. Ground ball. Oh, my God. Make some plays. He could have been out of this inning so fast. And now that's it. They're going to take him out. He threw great. He's on an upswing, Mr. Dollander. Very excited to see his progress. I'd love for them to give him some real starts. He's the future of the team on the mound in my mind, so I'd love to see him get some starts. Here's what we're working with here in the early going. I don't know if yesterday populated yet, but ground ball rate looking good, walk rate looking good. Those are going to be important. Getting plenty of chase, that's important. Still getting hit hard, but he is getting an education, you know, in the absolute fire that is Coors Field and beyond the last 2 years. And don't be surprised if you look up one day when Chase is 26, 27, he's not one of the best guys in the whole league, because he's learned lessons that other people aren't going to get lucky enough to learn early on, and then he's going to be able to apply all that. So I know he hasn't been dominant out of the gate, but this could be a tortoise and a hare situation. A lot of the other guys that are already famous and doing great, he might come up from behind and make some noise over the next few years. So fun guy to track for the Rockies. All right. Any knowledge why Giolito and Kopech has been on side? No, it sucks. I feel terrible for Gio. I know he's on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast today, so I'm going to listen to that today when I'm driving later. I hope you guys do too. We'll see what that's all about. Rod Bradford got to him and got to chat with him a little bit. I'm hoping somebody pulls the trigger on Gio soon. As for Kopech, I can't figure that out at all. It could be a medical thing. I bet Giolito's changeup would crush in Colorado. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get enough whiff, so I'd be a little worried about him in Colorado. But at the same time, I mean, shit. Why not? Bring him in. Bring the kid in. Bring the kid in. Not sure who's going to get roasted more when they come to Philly this year, Castellanos or Bo Bichette. Probably Castellanos, I would get. If hitting in Coors counts against a batter in MVP voting, for pitching in Coors should count for them. No doubt about it. Definitely. Definitely. Dollander looks like DeGrom. You know, I've been thinking it a little bit. I know it's a crazy comp, but that heater that he has is awfully similar to Jake's. Doesn't have quite as much lift, but that same type of super hip-shoulder separation, upshoot fastball, it's a little reminiscent. Giolito says he's ready to go. He's been up to around 75 pitches to keep the stamina up. Do I think the Jays could use him? I think a lot of teams could use him, and I'm hoping that pops for him soon. I really, really am. He's one of my favorites, so I hope he gets a gig here soon. How did Jeff Francis have so much success in Colorado with the low K rate? I mean, I think a couple things working for him. They never stole bases on him, so the double plays was always in effect. He could get grounders when he needed. He had an extreme contrast in speed between his fastball and his curveball. There was some deception with Francis. I think a lot of that played in. Dollander has some of the smoothest and easiest mechanics with the heat he has. There's no denying that. You know, let's actually watch him from the side, because you're totally right. He does have some insanely smooth mechanics. I mean, this is the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Look how simple it is. Just a lightning quick arm. Didn't mean to do that. See if we can get one out of the windup here. I mean, it looks like he's not even trying, and it looks like this is another weird thing that I have to think about right now. This is blowing my mind a little bit. Watch his arm follow through. He kind of cuts his arm off right after release. So it's almost like a whip effect. Like what? My arm used to at times smack my other leg. I'd be bringing it through so violently, but this is a 100-mile-an-hour heater, and look how quickly he stops the arm. How do you do that? Mitch, you ever noticed anything like that, Mitch? That's super weird to me. The hand speed is insane, but then he cuts it off. So does that mean like you're kind of like doing like a whip action instead of like throwing all the way through it like the way they used to teach us? I mean, I'm a big fan of recoils actually. I think that's a good decel pattern, but this is crazy to see how quickly the brakes work on his arm. The back of his shoulder must be incredible. I mean, I can't stop watching it. I'm gonna watch it in slow motion now. In slow motion. How does he do that? I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it. I got to start paying attention a little more to guys' arm follow through. The rapid deceleration looks rough on the shoulder. Actually, I think it's a sign of a very healthy shoulder because your arm will only allow it to go as fast as it can stop it. And I actually think the deceleration stuff, I think that's something that's not talked about enough. I think that we've messed up a lot of pitchers by making them not recoil. I think recoil is actually a sign of a healthy deceleration pattern in some cases, and I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. So we'll watch it one more time, but I mean that's just different type of shit. So I don't know. Do you think more pitchers are pitching out of the stretch? I feel like the league is following 5'10" Yamamoto. Yeah, but Yamamoto doesn't pitch out of the stretch. He pitches out of the windup. He just doesn't do a leg kick. But I do think more pitchers do pitch out of the stretch now because it's simpler. You know, ultimately you don't have to groove 2 deliveries. You just have to groove 1. So it's interesting. Yeah, that thing just hit a wall. So pretty cool to see. All right, I'm going to skip Mick Abel today. I know he pitched well yesterday for the Twinkies. This was his final line. He got traded over there for Duran. From the Phillies, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts. That was his first good start of the year. I'm not going to have enough time to really watch it because I got to prepare for my segment that's coming up. We'll do probables here in a second. Just curious what his mix was. 40 fastballs, 25 changeups. So fastball changeup, we've seen a lot of that working today. 18 sweepers, 12 curveballs, 7 sliders, average 95 with the heater, 76 first pitch strikes. Good for you, kid, hitting the fundies. So, pretty good stuff. All right, let's do probables, and then we're going to call it for today. Thanks for everybody being with me, hanging with me on the stream. We're getting ready for a great weekend of ball games. These are the matchups for today and for the whole weekend. The club matchups, but the individual matchups we'll go over today. Friday at Wrigley, which means day game, which is always great because that gives me something to do on a Friday is watch a little bit of Cubbies baseball. Carmen Waladinsky versus Shota Imanaga. He's had outstanding velocity this year, and that, to me, that's a big metric for him specifically. If he's more 93 than 90, I think his fastball plays better at the top, so we'll keep an eye on that. D-backs Phillies, Soroka, who's looked great right out of the gate going up against Luzardo, who actually punched 11 in Colorado his last start, so that's a pretty good matchup there. Marlins, Tigers, Paddock, and Montero. Saw Montero pitch in the Sunday night game I did last week with NBC. 2 fastballs, looked pretty good. Let's see how he looks today in what should also probably be pretty cold in Detroit. Angels, Reds, Kashanowitz, who's been great so far, versus Chase Burns, who's been fantastic so far. Can't wait to break him down tomorrow night on Baseball After Dark, possibly. Twins, Blue Jays, Simeon, Woods, Richardson, and Patrick Corbin team debut for the Blue Jays. So they did sign Corbs, which actually is pretty cool because him and Scherzer are like best buds. So they're together now with the Jays. He comes in, slots in the rotation after all the injuries. So we'll see how he looks as the Blue Jays are looking to get on track. A's, Mets. A's swap from the Yankees to the Mets, so they stay in their hotel rooms. JT Ginn, I think former Met, and Clay Holmes, who's looked fantastic in the early going. He's one of my pitchers to watch this year. Yankees, Rays, Luis Gil, season debut this year at the Rays, and Steven Matz. The Trop has been a terror dome, a terrible place to play for teams in the AL East over the last decade or so. We'll see how the Yankees look today versus them. Giants at Orioles. Landon Roop and Shane Baz is your matchup there. Guardians, Braves. Slade Ciccone, Bryce Elder. Cleveland at Atlanta. That's the Sunday night matchup this Sunday. CeCe's doing the inside pitch job, so check that out for us on NBC on Sunday. White Sox, Royals, Davis, Martin, Chris Bubich from Kaufman. Nats, Brewers, Jake Irvin and Chad Patrick. Sox, Cardinals, Dustin May going up against the team that traded him to the Cardinals. Yeah, the Red Sox. He was there for a cup of coffee last year, and it's Connolly Early, who I was just talking about, who I love. Connolly Early, Dustin May. Fun matchup there from the Lou. Rockies, Padres, Sugano Bueller. Little NL West showdown from Petco. Astros, Mariners. Ooh, Tatsuya Imai and the reverse slider going up against the Mariners. He had a very good second start. Let's see how he looks in his third start. Emerson Hancock's been dominant so far in this year, throwing the uphill fastballs from the low slot. And our final game of the night from Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. That's super weird to say. Rangers at Dodgers. Kumar Rocker versus Tyler Glasnow, who's been the best Dodger pitcher, I think, so far in the early season, at least starter. So some good matchups, some great matchups this weekend to pay attention to. So enjoy watching those. Definitely the McNeil return is a big one today for Mets fans. They get to go see the return of the squirrel. And that's about it. Yep, guy traded for Seabass is JT Ginn. Yep, so I thought he was a Met over to the A's. He gets to go against the Mets today. One last question here. If you think Corbin ends up pitching well, the Jays move him to bullpen. I mean, maybe. I really have no idea. They're paying him $1 million, so if he pitches good, they'll keep him around. If he's not pitching good, they won't keep him around. So he's in that spot where he's in a prove-it situation. Yeah, I worked on that. I saw your comment last time, Kumar. See, I'm working on it. I want to get these things right, so I appreciate when you correct me, and I'll work to get them right. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. Tomorrow night will be our next stream, Baseball After Dark, 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night. No stream tomorrow morning, tomorrow night. Stay with me. Please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll see you guys on the stream tomorrow. Keep an eye out all weekend for the watching videos. They're going to come out pretty soon. First 50 plate appearances of a lot of the rookies that debuted this year. So Carson Benz should be the first one. And really, I'm not making judgment on these guys so much as seeing how they're getting pitched and how they might need to adjust. And just getting a first look at that first 50 plate appearances in big leagues. So don't expect me to make any huge blanket statements. This guy sucks. This guy's amazing. Maybe I'll say some version of this guy's off to a good start or this guy's not or whatever. This is what I'm seeing. But overall, I just think it'll be really fun to watch guys in their first 50 plate appearances in the show. So I'm talking Murakami, I'm talking Weatherholt, I'm talking McGonigal, I'm talking Connor Griffin, and now I'm definitely talking Carson Bench, and there's probably some others, and eventually I'll get to all those guys as they're all getting right around the 50 plate appearance threshold right now. So enjoy. See you guys this weekend, tomorrow night on the stream, and anyway, enjoy the weekend again. All right, see you guys later. Have a good one. Oh, and if you want to watch me on MLB Now, I'll be on in 10 minutes. All right, bye.